It did really vividly show death in that sort of way, didn't it? It didn't take any prisoners in terms of just going, oh, this person sat next to you is dead. This is how brutal it is, being here on this island. Which it carried really well.
That no one seemed to care. Like, I started to think about it, like, a quarter of the way through the film, there would be these really quiet moments, like quiet calm, and then quite quickly followed by some pretty extreme violence. Someone would be killed in their bed or whatever, or like a mate would fall down the gangplank, or, you know, the guy's running out and he gets shot as he swims, and there's people just collapsing left, right, and center, and no one seemed particularly like loose or scared or anything. And I just found that kind of interesting. I was gonna ask, do you think that is a reflection of how people were, you know, in that place way back then, and, you know, in those sort of circumstances, you know, or is it more the director's sensibilities, him trying to shape the scene to try and get across the point that everybody is pretty used to it and accepting of it in a strange way?
I think they're all meant to be hardened criminals, aren't they?
Possibly both of those factors, though, like you say. Yeah. I mean, it could have been.
I think it's more a fatalistic time than it is now.
Yeah.
Like, we forget how death is such a taboo subject, and we're probably one of the first generations where it has been. Where in history, throughout history, war and death and disease and famine and everything were just an everyday feature of life, and plus, I think the reputation that these colonies would have had, people who've gone there knowing, I think, what to expect, and the guards wouldn't have. They would have been. I presume they would have been semi-lawless places, sort of out of the watchful eye of the government. So the guards would have gone away with a lot and would have been used to a lot. So
I was reading up on it. These camps arose out of the fact after the French Revolution, where basically they said they used to send all prisoners, no matter the crime, basically to a galley. So you would row, whether it was cargo ships or it was a navy. It was effectively a death sentence, and they said, well, that's as the navy started getting smaller and smaller, as like more powered boats came in, they basically had all these prisoners and they didn't know what to do with them, and that's when they started some sort of penal reform, and this was the reformed penal code. It's just nuts thinking that they were basically sent to row until they died before this. That was what people had done for hundreds of years.
It's mad, isn't it? I mean, the film didn't shirk away from that either, did it? Because there was a guillotine scene upon arrival, showing the one guy get his head chopped off. And I suppose as prisoners, you see that upon arrival, and you do become pretty numb to it after a while. And yeah, if society's like that anyway, and half of them, like Jem said, half of them are murderers and hardened criminals, maybe they're a bit more numb to it in general. But
that scene's played for laughs as well, though, because that guy's head flies off, and then the guy just turns to his left and he's like, "Mr. Dagar, did you get the money?" And this guy's head's just flown off, and they're just looking at each other like, "What?" So I don't know. Yeah, to some degree, the film was self-aware about, like, these are really grim circumstances. Everybody's used to it. Let's just crack on.
If there's anything in there other than the part where Papillon is in Honduras with the tribe. Okay, first of all, can I ask, does anyone really know why the tribe left? I couldn't piece that together. And then, was there any other bit in the film other than that bit that people found a bit of a bugbear?
Yeah, the guy with the tattooed face, I had no idea where he came from or what his role was and why he killed the people trying to hunt them.
He was part of trafficking prisoners to the leprosy people, wasn't he? He said the guy who you paid for the boat, he said, does this all the time. I'll help you. I'll take you to the lepers, and they might be able to sort you out with the boat. But
again, there's a lot of scenes like that you can imagine being great in the book because they're really fleshed out. Again, but the leper camp, the indigenous tribe, they're all slightly rushed, I think.
That is my bugbear. My bugbear of that film is that as soon as they left the prison, and to your point, Liam, and this is, I don't think I'd articulate it like that. I was sat and watching it, it's like, this is just, the pace has just changed dramatically, and the emphasis of the film is just so different. But it just did feel like there was some guy just sat, just like, Like, we got to get down to 2.5 hours, G. Yeah, just chop that bit here. Oh no, he's going to have that bit where we're going to show him. No, chop Venezuela. We need to get rid of that entirely. We can't cut that bit in. And then, oh shit, the bit with Dustin Hoffman. They're going to have a look. When he's coming. No, he's not going to come back from now. Let's get him to run off with that long-haired guy for a little bit. We'll save some time there. It felt like there was so much time just chopped out of that film that the pacing was so different. And it did feel like some key bits of information were just kind of let out, and you would, rather than being like taken along with and like with a storyline that was quite neat and tidy, you were having to make some like quantum leaps. And to your point, Guy, I had absolutely no idea what was why that tribe left.
No.
I have no idea.
No
I don't know if anyone has an explanation for it. I know you said it was maybe in the memoir, but how's the audience meant to know that?
No. It was the opposite in the memoir. He decided to leave the tribe, which is why I don't
That
understand.
makes sense then. That makes sense. Why have it the other way
I
around?
don't understand even more why he made it that the tribe left, because that doesn't really make much sense, because they had a great little setup.
The little bugbear of actually what you said as well, Liam, in terms of once he was recaptured, it was something like, oh yeah, by the way, 5 years down the line now, Steve McQueen, Papillon's old, he's been in there for 5 years, purely because they probably went, yeah, we're keeping this film short, so we don't really want to go through some of those scenes in solitary confinement again, because we've already spent half an hour of the film on that, so we'll just skip the next 5 years or whatever, and he can be old now, having spent all that time locked away, and we'll get round off towards an ending. So maybe pacing as a whole, this just varied slightly too much at points, but for me, like I said, I did find it got better as it went along, or I was more engrossed in it as it went along. But then that could have been down to my mood at the time. I don't know, but I certainly wasn't bored ever. Anyone else have any points of call that they thought was a little bit off with the film?
Was it cocaine that he was giving him?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Cocoa leaf, yeah.
I couldn't quite work that out actually. I thought it might be, but I don't know enough about it.
Because you could see all the when they're having the tattoos as well, all of the tribesmen are there going with their jaws like that.
So that's how he could keep running.
Because they're all chewing the leaves as well.
Mate, it was Colombia, to be fair, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the only thing I couldn't work out, because I was trying to be like, would they have had that then? But yeah, I guess.
he's tired in the middle of the forest running with that new chap, isn't he? He gives it to him, and they just all of a sudden he's so fast, like instantly.
I did like that though. I like that though. Some of the cinematography in it was really cool, and running through the trees, and particularly the dream sequences that he had. I thought they were really cool and really well done.
Yeah, they were quite well done.
The first one where he's literally becomes so. You know, he gets to the point where he starts to dream that he's having that trial in the desert and accepts the fact that he's wasted his life, because he comes to that conclusion that, yeah, I'm guilty. I've lived a wasted life. Like, that's when you come to literally your wit's end and you're literally just about to give up. And then the second one where his two previous inmate friends are dead and he's running towards them and it flips upside down.
Brilliant.
And their makeup changes.
They've got the mascara on, yeah.
I thought it was really, really good. Some really good cinematography. And what you said, Jan, about going through the door, we become Papillon for a moment, all of that. It certainly immerses you into it, and you certainly feel a part of it as a whole. And what you said, Tom, in terms of the score, it got nominated for Best Music Original Dramatic Score at the Oscars.
Yeah, I thought it was great. A lot of epic movies at that.
Nothing too special.
I
said the score was okay, but I didn't remember it too much. There wasn't that much to hold on to. There was no motifs or anything. It was just kind of.
Oh, I thought it was brilliant. I thought, because there were so many scenes without dialogue, I thought it carried it. I thought when he was in the prison, when the whole of the time he was in Colombia, there's no dialogue throughout that once he runs away. And it's all carried by the music the whole way through.
And the scenery.
Yeah, and the cinematography. But I thought the score was one of the strongest parts of that film, in my opinion.
Definitely filled the gaps, but there was no tune, there was no melodies. Maybe I'm just looking for different things. There was just no melodies that I thought, that's really, that really captures the mood or tone or whatever else. Personal preference.
It was well rounded, though. I think we'll all agree that as a whole. It has its small flaws, but as a whole, I thought it was very, very good. Really enjoyed watching it, to be honest.
Should we rate it?
Yeah. Tom, you go first. What do you think?
I'll give it a 7.8.
James?
7.
Jem?
7.7.
Yeah, I was going to give it a 7.8. Liam?
7.2.
7.2. Forgive me, I haven't actually been writing any of that down. So 7.2, 7.8, 7.8, 7, and Jem?
7.7.
7.7.
That sounds like another 7.6 average, which seems to be our favourite rating at the moment.
Quite a rounded one, yeah. 7.2 plus 7.8 plus 7.8 plus 7.7.
Tell you what, guy, we need to streamline this calculation bit.
Talk amongst
Or
yourselves, make it all really nice.
or edit it.
Do you think the cast was big enough? It was quite small, wasn't it, in the end? As the cast as a whole. I mean, it obviously relied mostly on Hoffman and McQueen, but did it discard characters too easily?
No, because it is about an individual at the end of the day, isn't it? Like, I don't think it needed a lot of characters. It was more focused on his one story, wasn't it? But I thought Steve McQueen was very good.
7.5 overall, so it's less than River Runs Through It.
Every week.
It's point one. It's 0.1 lower than. I'm a bit disappointed with that actually. 7.5. I thought it better. Well, so a River Runs Through It got a better rating, Jem.
Ooh. I feel about that. Yeah, fair enough. I can see that.
Wow.
I think had we watched
You can't compare them.
had we watched they're completely different films, but had we watched that in the cinema in 1973, I think we would have given it a much higher score. I think, yeah.
I think you would 100%. You would have given it a much higher score.
Yeah.
What would you rather watch?
Again, there's room for both of them.
Papillon. I'd probably rather watch Papillon. Well, I gave Papillon a better score than I gave River Runs Through It.
James and Liam, what about you two?
Between which two, right?
What would you rather watch again at River Runs Through It and this one?
Oh, River Runs Through It, yeah.
Yeah, it runs through hands.
I think it's just the end of this one did deflate me a little bit. And the end of River Runs Through It was the opposite, so I don't know.
Fair enough. 7.5 for Papillon.